back everyone, welcome back to another season, another edition here, another day of the RSL, the Rival StarCraft League Season 6 Playoffs Day Number 2 co-stream. We're here, we are back, we are live, and we are once again here covering the RSL. I'm Coach VIP. With me, I'm joined by State and Sturgeon covering the main stream. They're going to be our main casters here tonight, of course, and we are here going to be co-streaming, react streaming, if you will. Of course, we were here yesterday, we were here last night with day 1 of the playoffs. Now we're here with day number 2. After that first day of StarCraft, as you can see when it comes to the bracket itself, we do have some progress here. We do see that Cyril he took down Shin 3-0 to advance on to the next round. Likewise, Hero took down Solar 3-1. Now, what I will quickly say though is that, remember, double elimination. So if you're a fan of Shin, if you're a fan of Solar, do not fret, they are still in the tournament, just in the lower brackets. We'll get to some more of them later on in the tournament, as you can see on the 1st of August. Meanwhile, we're here to conclude the upper bracket quarterfinals. It is going to be 2 series, 2 best of lives. Clem versus ByuN, a TVT, and Rogue versus Lambo, a ZVZ. So non-stop mirror matchups are ahead of us here, back to back. Oh boy, so 2 series, 2 best of fives. Meanwhile, you can see the rest of the schedule here, of course, leading all the way into September. And remember, what is in September? BlizzCon. BlizzCon is around the corner. It has been a very, very long time since we've had StarCraft at BlizzCon. I mean, BlizzCon did take a bit of a hiatus as well for a time as well. But StarCraft will be back at BlizzCon, not in the way that we were hoping, of course. There isn't like a big event necessarily happening at BlizzCon. There is the Classic Cup, which is nice, but that's going to be featuring older, retired players alongside, and at least we do have the RSL finals at least. Not quite the same as having an event at BlizzCon, but at least, you know, they're going to be collaborating together, and at least they're going to be allowing for the finals to take place September 13th over at BlizzCon. Again, that'll just be the grand finals. Just the finals. Otherwise, as you can see here, we have our broadcast schedule, times available in all select time zones. And if you want to support the event, if you want to help support the RSL, you can do so via Patreon, !RSL in the chat, and you'll get a link to the RSL Patreon page where you can help support the event. You can also help when it comes to voting. Every vote does matter when it comes to voting for what maps you want involved, what players you want to compete, and also replay packs and other, I want to say, discounts as well. I think they do like sell some merchandise, and if you're a patron, then you get a discount available. So there's some other benefits available as well in regards to the Patreon. Also, a big shout out to the StarCraft Miniatures tabletop game, as they are one of the main sponsors of the RSL. Again, they're actually being sent out as we speak. I believe being shipped to the Americas, to Europe, and to Oceania and rest of Asia as well. So depending on where you are in the world, you might already actually have your pre-orders already. I know that I'm still waiting for mine. Still waiting, but soon, Bappy, soon it'll get here. And then the disastrous painting stream will be upon us. Likewise, we already just mentioned it, but there is the Patreon in regards to like Discord, voting for players, replay packs, exclusive merchandise, all over there on the Patreon as we delve into the main broadcast here today. Let's go. Let us go. So again, have you all been enjoying yourselves? Again, we were live last night. We had some intense ZVZs and ZVPs, but now it's all about those mirror matchups, and we'll be getting into that momentarily, of course. Momentarily. Yeah, there is 20% discount apparently.
T-shirts, your general gaming merch, kind of Tastosis-based stuff, RSL stuff, StarCraft stuff. There's a whole array of different merch that you can get your hands on.
Yeah, we're also trying to build up the RSL YouTube. That's youtube.com/@revivesc2.
YouTube, whether it's RSL YouTube, whether it's our YouTube. Sure, we're also live on YouTube as well. YouTube is the place to be for all the VODs and even live coverage as well on the YouTubes.
So players who, you know, play StarCraft 2 or just watch StarCraft 2 on YouTube, where the audience is huge, by the way. They might not even know that RSL is happening because they don't watch live StarCraft. I know this is very big on Twitch and the other platforms where we stream, but we want to make the YouTube bigger, so please check it out and support us.
Yeah, we also have all the spoiler-free VODs there. If you missed the live broadcast and you don't want to know, you don't want to get the results spoiled, that is the place to go. So definitely check that out. We are just getting ready to jump into the first game here. As we mentioned, it's going to be Clem versus ByuN. Who have you got your eye on here as the favorite, Gemini?
Gemini, I haven't
gone that long. This is your fault. You were gone way too long. I've been next to Gemini every week. And you both
They
got
all look the
Protoss.
same, Pappy.
Sturgeon.
They're both Protosses. What do you want from
That
us?
is true. Gemini
State,
has not got that.
Gemini.
And you
all
say,
look the same.
Like I was saying, State.
No.
What are your predictions here?
To answer your question, I honestly have no idea because I haven't really seen much of Clem's TBT ever. I'm very familiar with Clem's PBT, but TBT, I don't know if I've seen any Clem TBTs really. Thinking back to it, you know, he's been playing Protoss for so long in the versus Terran matchup. It just kind of. It is the way that I think of
We can
Clem as
speak on this a little bit,
So I know
but
that
we'll hear
Clem's
from them.
TBT is spectacular as a Terran player versus Zerg and versus Protoss. He's spectacular. I have a big question mark about how he's going to be doing here versus ByuN.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious, you know, what kind of style he's going to go for. ByuN can be very aggressive in all matchups.
So talking about TVT a little bit here, we did speak on this previously. If you have not been watching StarCraft over the past 2 weeks, over said 2 weeks, Clem has been playing TVT again. What's the reasoning for this? He is not currently enjoying a PVT on the new patch. Of course, new patch, very controversial, a lot of changes, warp gate changes, economy changes, but Clem is not enjoying himself playing Protoss, so he is switching back to Terran, and is playing TVT for the first time in over a year. Again, back in December of 2024 was when he last played at TVT, so it's been a very, very long time. But now he's back. Now he's back to playing TVT. We've been casting it quite a bit in the Open Cups, so think of Water TV Mondays, Sparkling Tuna Cups, Pigstar Cups, Monday Night Weeklies, and Kung Fu Cups as well. And when it comes to Clem's TVT, it's looking decent. It's looking decent. I would still rate players like Cure higher than Clem. Sorry, higher than Clem, Maru as well. Ryung, of course, when it comes to TVT. I do think that ByuN is going to be a good matchup for Clem, though. ByuN is a very active player. He's very stylistic when it comes to TVT. Clem is much more standard in his play. I'm curious here. I think I still give the edge to Clem. Sorry, I give the edge to ByuN in this matchup, but we could see Clem bring him down as well. It comes down to the early to mid game to see if he can gain some map control, gain some momentum, take away some of the aggression from ByuN, because ByuN is a very aggressive player in this matchup. He loves to go into heavy drop play in the mid game. He's all about outmaneuvering and outpositioning, and once he gets the ball rolling, it can be difficult as the opposing Terran to keep up in TVT. So we'll see. We'll see if Clem is up to the task. We'll see if he can keep up with some Korean TVT action, as again in recent weeks it's been very mixed for Clem. He's had some wins here, some losses here. It's still been I would still say it's his weakest matchup for sure. It is Clem's weakest matchup. So if he were to be brought down early in this event in a TVT, that would not really be the most surprising result. But let's go. Regardless, Vita's underway, players are getting ready, cameras are being set up, and we can soon jump into our first series of the broadcast.
You never know how deep Hero's going to go. I mean, he's won a ton of RSL events already. He very well could win this one, too, if he continues to play the way that he did yesterday.
They're just going over the group stage.
As, folks, we'd love to jump into the match. We're just waiting for that lobby to get set up right now, so just bear with us for a little bit here. You know, just taking the bigger perspective, I want to see Hero get really deep in this tournament, just so we have, you know, parity amongst all three races heading into, you know, the upper bracket finals, going to the lower bracket finals.
Variety is always good.
I think it makes things interesting, but also selfishly, as a Protoss player who's been playing a lot on the new patches, I'm kind of in need of builds. You know?
You need those replays.
Yeah, I need those replays badly.
Yeah, I really want to
Oh, the
see
segue.
Hero versus Serral. I don't care where it happens. It could be upper bracket, lower bracket, whatever. I guess they could both go to the lower bracket. That's possible. But I would really love to see those two play each other and see how the very, very top level of PvZ is looking right now. Obviously, we've seen Hero take out Solar. We've seen Serral against some other Protosses in different tournaments. But I want to see a big, like, best of 5, best of 7 between those guys just to really get a feel for the matchup.
Yeah, the way Hero's been playing PvZ is very different. I was feeling a little bit down on PvZ coming into this season of RSL just because most of the games that I saw from players like Hero, from players like Classic, it's been SkyToss games where you just kind of play Void Rays. It's like the Void Ray patch from years bygone. And it's not very much fun. I like a lot more battling, a lot more skirmishes happening all over the map. And that was kind of the flavor of PvZ that we got between Hero and Solar. It's why I was so happy with the way the games went yesterday. So Yeah, Hero versus Serral, that would be an
I think,
awesome match to cast if we get
just
it.
touching on the topic of what State is saying here, obviously I've been very vocal about my disdain for currently ZVP and the current meta that we have. I do think that it's important that it's brought up, but I also think it's important to distinguish the fact that Hero is playing differently to other people. Like, Hero is going for a lot of all-ins, a lot of cheeky builds. He's had to resort to that just because playing Standard is playing just pure Void Rain to Skytoss, and that isn't fun, that isn't enjoyable, even for Hero as well. I do think it's important for them to like emphasize that, just because of course like RSL gets a lot of eyes on it, and hopefully this is a message that can be pushed towards like the Blizzard team and towards the Classics department, just so when it comes to the next change, like maybe that can be addressed in some way. But here we go, we're jumping into our series and our fresh best of 5.
What am I talking about?
Let's go.
Colors, how do they work?
The French Terra player, it's Clem beyond the red Terran in the top right. Oh.
Yeah. Made it work, and he moves on to
I know.
the semis, and then of course Hero took out Soloth.
Oh my bad.
We'll have to see how much
Spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the
CC's coming
South Korean
to
Terran
this
player. We do have
matchup, whether we'll have more
the South Korean Terran, we have the red Terran player, it is ByuN. Bottom left, we do have Clem for Team Liquid. If you're in the chat, before I forget, predictions. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat, as predictions are currently open. So place your bets. Once again, as I mentioned, I do lean towards ByuN in this series, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to sink my teeth into some TVT between Clem and ByuN.
This map on ladder though. So you play Zerg Sturgeon. What's your reason for banning Fear and Faith?
I don't like 4-player or 3-player maps. I just ban both of those and BlackRock because it's the worst Zerg map, and then yeah, I just like your standard maps, or a cheeky gold-based map is fine or whatever. But
so Old Sun Temple 2, the other 4-player map, like the 3 spawn, or I guess your opponent, it's like a 3-player map basically with the way that
Talking about ZV
work. That's another
matchups.
veto for you.
So far, we do have standard openers. Rack's first gas is being taken. It is not uncommon to open up TVT CC first, especially on a large map and RNG map like this. But we can see that both players, neither one is going for that risk and going for that earlier command center. It is a risk just because in TVT it's quite common, quite standard to go for proxies as well. It's very, very commonplace in this matchup. And we do see that actually ByuN is going for a second gas, and I believe so is Clem, if not mistaken. So looks, yeah, double gas openers. Very safe play from both players going into faster factories. Interesting.
Whereas a Marine is coming out for Clem.
We'll see how the openers evolve over time from both
A
players.
little bit faster here.
Marine opening, so a little bit more gas here for Clem. It's interesting to me that both players are going for a 2-gas opening here, the fast factory.
Yeah.
Not looking to abuse those cheaper CCs just yet. Going to be going into the tech nice and quickly.
Yeah, and we were talking about this a little bit heading into the games today, but TVT is one of these matchups which, since we've had all the changes, going down to an 8-worker start and then the subsequent balance patches from there, I've been more in player mode than in caster mode as somebody laddering. I've been watching a lot of Protoss Pro games. Haven't really been watching a lot of TVTs or ZVZs, so I'm very curious about what the matchup is going to look like, especially with the change of the 300 minerals CC.
So they're like theorizing like, oh, what's the matchup looking like? So when it comes to TVT, we have been seeing a lot more aggression in all mirror matchups, PvP, ZVZ, and TVT as well. Because of spawn locations, I don't really expect that to influence this too much. But for example, Clem is going for a 1-1-1. Like, this is very abnormal. This is hyper tech heavy. Very late expansion. Marines are in position to deny the scouts. A big denial. The Reaper goes down, and ByuN sees nothing in the main. Back at home, ByuN is playing standard. And Clem, he's going for an all-in. He's going for a 1-base all-in. As I mentioned, like, a hyper-aggression 1-base play is a lot more common, and 2-base all-ins as well. ByuN sees nothing. Clem still, I believe, has to look for ByuN, by the way. I don't think he's fully confirmed. Yeah, he's now trying to check. And unfortunately, the spawn locations will favor ByuN defensively because that longer rush distance by ground. So basically, Clem gambles, he rolls the dice, he rolls, unfortunately, incorrectly, and it's going to be harder to pull off this 1-base all-in. Not impossible, but more difficult.
1-base play coming out from Clem. I don't think he's going to try to expand this game unless the push fails. He's going to try and knock ByuN out early.
Yeah, very interesting. We were wondering how his TVT's looking, and in game number 1 here, he's going to be choosing a very aggressive build. He's making tanks, he's making medevacs, he's making marines.
Here's like, oh, how's this TVT looking? It's looking like everyone else.
So he's got to get a lot of damage done with this. Oh, he does see the Reaper and the Hellions moving across the map here.
Here's where the spawn location. Here comes the all-in.
First medevac. to spot the Hellions and the Reapers here.
Now ByuN sees.
These Marines have to
Yes,
be
he's
careful
his
behind
medevac. Massive scout for ByuN.
now, but of course with
Remember,
just
ByuN had no idea that it was a one-base all-in. He did not scout the main.
threat, he is going to be pulling back.
And ByuN, he has to set up back at home.
I guess he's just going to try and fly that medevac right outside the base of ByuN and just siege those tanks up and, you know, start wailing away on that base.
And with Reactor Vikings behind this, it kind of reminds me of how in TBT before, hold that thought actually, siege tanks dropping here.
So I think State was about to go into a talking point discussing 2.2 base all-ins, which is back, by the way. It's very common. At the same time, Hellions are going to be going down. Nice engage here by Clem.
Pretty good. The Hellions didn't get the big splash damage shots they needed, and now ByuN, these 3 units, they're isolated
going
outside the natural expansion.
Getting into the main.
How much does he actually have to
Ooh,
defend?
lock on the medevac, gets wasted.
Gets a lock on, but it's not the best. The medevac gets away pretty quick.
Ooh,
And these tanks,
Cyclone goes down.
So difficult to deal with. The SCVs
And there's nothing left. There's nothing left. The boys are being pulled, and we're just snowballing out of control. SCVs are falling, Hellions are falling, tanks will not go down. GG gets called, and Clem takes game number 1.
Clem in game number 1. I was going to say, it kind of reminds me of how in TBT, in the 12 worker start, we would have a similar push without stim pack, where you push in with siege tanks and sometimes 2-star port Vikings, just on 2 command centers. This is like the hyper-accelerated version of that push. It almost looks like a TVP build from like Wings of Liberty, you know?
Yeah. And Slam.
So very quickly, touching on what Say just said, the build that he's referring to is still very much so meta. It's still very much so in the. It actually is in the meta right now. Specifically, he was alluding to 2.2 base all-ins. If you've been watching TVT as of late, very common to see 2.2 base all-ins as well. Very, very common. Just bear that in mind, because there's a very high chance that we see that at some point in this series. Then the casters might make reference to that again. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up. Interesting to see what Clem does with TVT. Yeah, as we mentioned, like when it comes to Clem's TVTs, it is pretty quote-unquote standard. Like, he's not doing anything too quirky with it. Again, we've been casting Clem's TVT for the past 2 weeks, so he has been playing like a lot of proxies, 1 base all-ins, 2 base all-ins, 2 base play, but that's how everyone is playing TVT right now. Like, there isn't anything too crazy about it. It's looking very similar to the other Terrans. Obviously, ByuN is more stylistic in his play, for sure. Yeah, TVT is still very, very quote-unquote coin flippy. I think an example of that is this game, where Clem went for a 1 base all-in. ByuN didn't realize it was a 1 base all-in until Clem was already pushing across the map. So ByuN had a very limited time to react and to respond to said aggression.
So it's going to be a little bit easier to scout that kind of thing.
Say that was 1 base all-in? Yes, it was 1 base all-in.
Like that again.
Yeah, I think
It was a double gas opener, 1-1-1 into, I think it was even triple tank towards the end. But let's go. Let's jump in.
Not knowing the spawn of your opponent, not being able to get the Reaper Scout in there because it's getting across the map so late too. Right. It's a big boon there for Clem as we hop into map number 2. Ruby Rock, ByuN spawning in the bottom right as the red Terran, Clem, the blue Terran in the top left.
Yeah, I also think the build choice of ByuN doesn't really match well into that. Like neither Reapers nor Hellions. That's like a build where you want to be killing workers, right? Like, you hope your opponent expanded and you can get in, get some damage, expand behind it yourself, get ahead economically. But they don't do well with killing siege units, you know, like tanks, killing mech units. So yeah, maybe just a bad lineup in build choices, and also the 4-player map coming into it, making it more difficult to scout. So I would be surprised to see that again, but who knows?
I'm glad that Sturgeon was able to bring it back around to that kind of framework. Basically, what Sturgeon was getting at is that was a little bit of a coin flip, and it is. Right now, the consensus is that a lot of the mirror matchups. Actually, I should take a stronger stance there. All the mirror matchups are now more coin flippy when it comes to the extreme openers you can go for. And we're even seeing it here. CC first at a Clem, right? He's going CC first this time. Meanwhile, ByuN on the flip side is going 2 ranks Reaper. Interesting. So 2-Rax Reaper is supposed to hard counter a proxy Rax. So this is where, again, we're flipping coins right now. So ByuN, he's assuming that Clem is going to 1 base all in and go proxy Rax, so he's going to try to hard counter it. Meanwhile, Clem, he's hoping that ByuN is going to play safe by going CC first. As these builds open up, I do lean towards ByuN, just because Clem is cutting corners.
A build order win here for ByuN.
Yeah, they're talking about build
does
order
Clem
wins.
have a trick to defend?
I mean, if you want to know if CC first can hold a double Rax Reaper push, this is the game to watch. If anyone can make it happen, it's Clem. We'll have to see what his plan here is. He's gone for the double gas.
Yeah, shout out to State. He made the statement that he often avoids. He's like, is this a bullet or win? It's like, it's at least an advantage here for ByuN, assuming that he gets damage done with this. We'll see if he can. This comes down to unit control. It comes down to unit control.
First one is on the way for Clem, but I mean, this just looks so dangerous.
So ByuN does have just a higher production capacity here for Reapers compared to Clem. It's just higher.
Here on the high ground as the first Reaper hops in. And interestingly sees no Reaper here for Clem, so he might think that Clem is, you know, elsewhere on the map. And so ByuN's not even actually checking the natural expansion. He doesn't know where Clem's Reaper is. He doesn't know that Clem's Reaper just
Clem should be ByuN should be waiting for a second Reaper anyway. Yeah, he's waiting for it.
Or something. He didn't confirm. Yeah, you see there's no factory in the main, no other tech.
And ideally ByuN wants to catch the first Reaper of Clem. He wants to catch him. We'll see if he can.
And now he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, now Clem sees the command center here, the natural expansion. It's 2 Reapers versus 1. Clem raises the depot right now, and
now ByuN knows ByuN will punish the economy at least.
ByuN's here, but will he be able to hold? Second Reaper about to pop
He's
for
going
Clem.
in.
SCVs
We have to pull the boys.
Pulled here.
We're gonna pull them.
Yeah, damage already happening. 3 SCVs go down. I love the hit some.
Brutal KDA charge.
The first Reaper goes down though for Clem, and I mean now it's just SCVs plus 1 Reaper against multiple on the side of ByuN.
Yeah, ByuN did miscontrol. He lost 1 Reaper. That should not have happened. So ByuN will lose a little bit of momentum here, but he still has the higher Reaper count.
But it's looking like it's
catching a Marine. Very massive.
Yeah.
I think that's just game. I think that's just game. He killed the Marine. He should kill the Reaper as well. Oh, he barely gets it. He gets away. Oh my god. Yeah, you can see Clem shaking his head.
Dude, if both those Reapers go
and
down,
again, the Clem just has no production here. Like he can't produce. He just physically cannot produce. Does get a massive Hellion shot off. Oh my god.
Beautiful shots there. I like that he kept the SCVs near the cliff as well.
Yeah, ByuN did make a mistake there. He clumped up the army, went into the main base before his own Hellion arrived. Oof.
You went CC first. You're getting extra
so ByuN making mistakes.
From the SCVs being produced, but also from the mules. And so Clem, he's going to stabilize right now. ByuN, he's not done getting damage.
Again, that shouldn't have... Like, ByuN should be winning this game right now, but he did make mistakes. He did overextend. Still trades with the army here, but now the workers are equalizing, and Clem still has a better economy.
That command center not even done yet.
Yeah, Clem's position looks great. He's dropping mules off 2 bases right now, while ByuN doesn't even...
So again, massive blunder, massive miscontrol out of ByuN. Clem takes the lead, and Clem is getting further ahead. I mean, again, you can see how quickly it all just switches there as well, because Clem, like, you can see it on the cameras, like, he was not looking good. He was very, very upset about what was happening, but again, like, that was on ByuN.
They just come down the ramp. Some more SCVs may fall if these line up here.
Jesus.
A lot of damage.
Oh my god.
SCVs. This is very dangerous for Clem.
6
more SCVs
what?
go down.
6 more SCVs fall.
That's crazy.
Able to dispatch these
8
here in the main base of Clem. In fact, 8 SCVs in total. As ByuN was finally able to get those kills.
We're getting messy.
That is a wild
we're getting messy.
It's up and down, up and down.
Those are all the SCVs getting pulled, not just getting killed too. And so things are going to kind of normalize now. You know, there's been a little bit more factory production time here for Clem overall as opposed to ByuN, but the starports, they finished at just about the same time. The word counts are essentially even, 32 to 30.
So is that Reaper Rush? I mean, not really. Like, remember, like, ByuN went for a 2-ranked Reaper. Clem would have been fine if he had just played Standard, but remember, Clem went CC first. Like, it's important to contextualize the build from both players, where ByuN went for an aggressive build and Clem went for a hyper-greedy build. Like, that's why the dynamic is as it is.
This medevac, excuse me, gets away.
Medevac survives. That's crazy.
Really tricky micro there from Clem. He wanted to keep the medevac in range of the Vikings so Cyclone could try and take it out, but he knows he cannot withstand any more damage.
Do you see the production for Clem? If you remember, we made reference to this earlier when State was like, oh, people used to go like 2-port, 2-base all in. This is it. Double starport. 2-port, 2-base all in.
Another siege tank push. He's adding in his second starport, so this is going to be more akin to the kind of 2-port Viking siege tank push that we were talking about there in game number 1.
Yeah,
State did notice.
Supply block there for a moment, but 3 Vikings in
State
production at a time for Clem. Stim on the way for ByuN, and he does have that.
So Clem is going for a 2-base all in. ByuN is not aware.
In the near future, obviously he would love to, you know, get his eco ahead. But I don't think Clem's going to let him. This Liberator will move around the outside of the map. Does escape the army for now.
Gets a medevac.
Medevac actually gets found.
Oh my god.
Go down eventually.
Yeah, medevac goes down, Marines go down. This means that ByuN's defense is going to be even weaker. ByuN's in trouble.
ByuN's going to see if he can try and catch this army.
He's in trouble,
establish a position here. I don't think he's aware that Clem is going for what is effectively an all-in build with a 2-port Vikings.
Look,
there isn't a
state is growing.
He wants to get damage done with this.
He's saying it. It took him 6 seasons. Let's go.
On the other side of the map, going to get some SCVs. 3 Vikings coming out on that side, though. We'll be able to deal with that eventually.
We're so proud, baby.
And the Siege Tank's forced to reposition here. Going to go round to the natural. It looks like Clem has more in the air for the moment.
Oh, ByuN, is he going to go for an SCV pull?
Yeah. Oh my god, the tank shots are brutal.
This time, though, you know, the SCV.
Yeah, crazy tank shots, liberated a siege up. Tank is going to be going down, and ByuN is just falling apart here.
There's just no firepower for ByuN with that pull. Instead, he loses a lot of SCVs. He loses the siege tank and the Marines there on the low ground. Clem looking to be in a really good position. If he can maintain air superiority.
He definitely can at the moment. The SCVs now are pulled. He decides this is the time, but there's nothing with them. It's just SCVs.
Yeah.
So they all just get shredded. 23 go down, and Clem.
What do we see? Clem, he snowballs out of control. He shuts down mineral line. 23 SCVs going to be falling. Vikings, they land here at the natural base. They take down the final tank. ByuN, he's holding on to the main base, but barely holding on here as he's down to 2 tanks. The CC is killed as well. Kills the CC. GG, well played. And Clem takes a 2-0 lead in the series.
In this best of 5.
That I was expecting like some long kind of macro, you know, cheaper CC, TVTs. No, we are getting some aggressive builds out here today. I love the CC first, after the 1 base all in. Clem kind of bringing the mind games here, you know, mixing it up. And ByuN, I mean, he went for the 2 racks, but just wasn't able to get enough damage done, it felt like.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that Clem was able to defend with a CC first versus 2 racks Reaper, and it wasn't a proxy 2 racks Reaper. ByuN definitely could have cut some SCVs and been more aggressive with it if he wanted to. Also, you know, in terms of the movement with the Reaper,
Curious what they say here.
He was suspicious about Clem potentially having Reapers on the map. Yeah. That's why he didn't scout the natural expansion very quickly. He didn't identify it with CC first that fast. Maybe he would be able to get a little bit more damage done if he immediately knew it was a CC first, so might be some missed opportunity there, but in any case, Clem with a CC first, making use of that.
So I would remind people when it comes to the builds themselves, ByuN had the advantage, was getting damage done, and they're making, I feel like they're harping on this point a little bit too much, more so than they should, where they're like, oh, like ByuN, it took him too long to realize it was CC first to punish it. I would disagree. ByuN was waiting for a second Reaper, and you wait for that second Reaper to make sure that you have the Reaper advantage against your opponent's singular Reaper, so that made plenty of sense for ByuN. I would say that ByuN was playing fine, was playing well, was ahead, until he went up the ramp with 3 Reapers. And if you remember, when he did that, all the Reapers clumped up, and he took some massive Hellion shots to the face by 1 Hellion, and Reaper lost, then ByuN lost all 3 Reapers. And if you remember, it was a couple of seconds after that where ByuN's own Hellion arrived and his own reinforcing Reaper. So ByuN, he did make mistakes, he did overextend. That was on ByuN, that was ByuN's blunder, where he lost momentum early on because he was overzealous with those first 3 Reapers. So that's kind of when the tide turned, and that was a big pivotal moment, because that's when Clem got away with his CC first build and was able to get into his own greater economy and then go into a 2-base all-in, which of course ByuN was unaware of. But GG well played. With that, we're going to be going on a break, getting ready for our next matchup. Just catching up. This reminds me of early game all-ins in Wings of Liberty. So far, the style and the builds that we're seeing right now is still very common from the previous patch. This is where I also want to quickly remind people as well, because Sturgeon, he was like, I was expecting longer games. TBT has been hyper aggressive and hyper all-in for the past like 4 years. At this point, 4 years. TBT has a reputation of being like, and a stereotype of being like very macro oriented, but that was a stereotype that was cemented back in Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, back in like not even early Legacy as well, but it's like a reputation that used to be true, but in modern StarCraft, like TVT is hyper aggressive and very high octane. It's actually quite rare to see these slower siege lines where you slow things down into like 40-minute games. Over the past like 3, almost 4 years now, it has been like very, very aggressive, with 1-base all-ins, 2-base all-ins. And for greater context, this is the reason, these games that we're seeing right now, this is the reason why Clem stopped playing TVT. Fun fact, so again, just to make sure that everyone's, we like the last thing we want is for people to have the wrong impression of this and be like, oh god, like now like we're seeing nothing but all-ins. No, this was always the case. This is why Clem stopped playing TVT, because he kept being all-in. He just kept being all-in. He kept struggling in the early to mid game, and of course positional play was a big part of that as well. But this is the reason why Clem Clem had a hard time and why he switched to Protoss to get out of this like hyper aggressive TVT. But what I appreciate about what we're seeing here, this is reminding me of Serral. We spoke about this yesterday in the ZVZs. Serral, there was a big turning point for Serral where he stopped playing standard in ZVZ. This happened in 2023. In 2023, Serral, there was a big period of time where Serral, he was losing so many ZVZs against Solar, against the Korean Zergs and Solar especially, where Serral, he kept trying to play standard, kept trying to play reactive, and he just couldn't. He just could not. And then there was a turning point when Serral started going for 12 pools, started going for Ling Floods, Bane Bus, Roach All-Ins. Serral, he started embracing much more aggressive builds in ZVZ, and that's where he found more success. And now we're seeing that shift here at a Clem, where Clem, as you can see in these first two games, he's had enough reacting. He's not the reactor anymore. Like, he's not reacting to his opponent in TVT. Now he's the one that's being hyper aggressive and all in. This is the same thing that we saw from Serral a couple of years ago in the mirror matchup, because all the mirror matchups are like hyper aggressive. So I think this is really cool that Clem is like embracing the more like Korean style of TVT. We'll see if we can keep this going, and we'll see if ByuN can like adapt to Clem now being more aggressive than he used to be. But let's go. Let us go. We'll see you soon after the short break. 2 minutes. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We are here. We are back with the RSL playoffs. With day number 2, we're here with our first series, TVT between ByuN and Clem. And currently, Clem is up 2-0. Clem is up 2-0. ByuN is struggling so far in this series. I did see Muppet asking in the chat, talking about why was Clem struggling in TVT. A reason for that is because in TVT, when you open up the game, and this is why we call them openers, when you decide your opener, there's a rock paper scissors dynamic when it comes to TVT. And I hope that we've been able to make some of that clear in these couple of games, and because it's clear in TVT in general over the past couple of years, where you can decide to go CC first, you can decide to go proxy, you can decide to go double gas, you can decide to go into a Rax expand. There are a bunch of different like viable openers, but the reality is that when you go into one of them, another is going to be at the advantage against you. So like there is this what is very commonly stated amongst the Terran pros is that TVT over the past couple of years has had a bit of a coin flippy dynamic where you can kind of like pick your opener and then just purely because of your opener, you're at an advantage or a disadvantage, depending on your opponent's opener. Like, there is a wide variety of openers, but like, the reality is that, like, without any input from your opponents or input from yourself, like, you can just pick an opener and then, like, you're kind of locked in, and you can be at a lead or be at a disadvantage, and you can't really do much about that. And that's one of the reasons why Clem kind of stopped playing TVT, right? Like, because he would often try to play standard or try and play safe, but his opponent would often be a lot more chaotic and at times can punish that kind of play as well. This is also somewhat applicable. This is somewhat applicable to the other matchups, so not as much. I think I would say that TVT, this applies to more so than the other matchups, for sure. Just because there's a little bit more variety when it comes to TVT and less so when it comes to ZVZ and PvP.
That is a fast CC, and I can't believe he's doing this 2 games in a row.
Yep, so Clem going CC first. ByuN, does it go
ByuN
2x again?
He might be going 2x again.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Let's run that back. Let's see how
Run it
that's
back.
supposed to go.
Okay.
And this time, let's see if he's more aggressive with it, or if he...
So same builds. 2x Reaper out of ByuN, CC first out of Clem. Now remember what we said previously, ByuN, I would say, had the build order advantage last game, but he did miscontrol his units. We'll see if that holds any water, if that bears true here. Because again, ByuN should have the greater production available. He should have the army advantage. He should be able to overwhelm Clem, despite Clem's own production himself. And we should be seeing ByuN take a lead here. Last game, we tried to emphasize that ByuN did make a mistake and did lose 3 Reapers early on, which was huge, by the way, losing those 3 Reapers. But we'll see if that stands true, if that holds true, or if we see ByuN excel here instead.
Last game, like a lot of things, you know, a lot of interactions came down to the wire. Could have gone either way and changed the game a lot. So let's see how things pan out this time round as the first Reapers start to spawn here, and they will be making their way across the map. 2 more in production. Clem's Reaper on the way here, and yeah, I'm just so curious if he can make this defense happen again.
Reaper's be going straight into the main base.
So you got 2x versus easy first. Ah, you're listening to the stream. Yes, we did. We were emphasizing. We've been talking about the openers and the same opener that we saw last game.
He doesn't, not yet. Again, playing it a little bit safe.
Okay, he's going to go round and check. Like you have to.
He does check earlier,
somehow, right?
so you're gonna apply some pressure. Second, the Reaper's on the way.
And catch him there. But okay, now he knows. So let's see what his plan is from here. Is he going to just join up with those?
Oh, so ByuN does shift gears here. He's going for a faster fact. Oh no, he did that last game as well. Yeah, he did that last game as well for the Hellion.
Pull SCVs to hold this.
Oh, he's gonna wait for 3 Reapers. I think this is.
And again, this comes down to the early game defense. Clem has to pull the boys to minimize losses, to minimize shots. Oh, he wants to read. No, he gets it.
A little bit of miss micro there on the Reaper for Clem.
Yeah, Reaper goes
Second one
down.
comes out right in front of the Reapers.
Losing the first Reaper like that is so
That's
painful.
huge,
You need
yeah.
to have that DPS behind the front line of the SCVs.
And again, with good enough control, ByuN should overwhelm this. But we said the same thing last game.
As much damage done as possible, Clem. He's just trying to hold on until he gets a Hellion. But ByuN's already been able to take down 4 SCVs.
Oh god.
Hellion
Okay.
is here now, though. There's 4 Reapers on the side of ByuN. They're gonna
This
kill
time
SCVs
ByuN got in
so
without
quickly.
getting a massive shot to the
Place
face.
that Clem can't see. He doesn't
True.
have vision of it. And he's
He
going to
gets
jump
in.
onto
The
the Reaper of
splits.
Clem.
And
He
there
gets
it
The
is.
Hellion
There it
may fall
is.
As well. Things starting to snowball here. 12 SCVs gone
And ByuN is
down.
rallying his own Hellion across the map. That's still going to be forced out, but this time 12
It
SCVs.
looks like Clem may just survive here, but at what cost? He's down 5 workers. ByuN has his CC just finishing up back home.
He can go in.
This is a lot more
He can.
damage than Clem sustained in the
Oh
previous
my god.
game. Reaper and Hellion able to get into the main base right
And
now.
again,
Marine
this
and
is what should have happened last game.
Units here are
Like,
done.
just winding it back to game number 2. This is where ByuN, he takes down the Hellion, takes down 12 SCVs, and ByuN takes a lead from here.
Everything is breaking ByuN's way right now.
Here come 3 more, and the Hellions actually ran all the way around. Not here for the defense right now. The Marine dies instantly.
So basically, ByuN, after that
Okay,
break,
looks
he
like
locked
Clem
in.
a lot of trouble here in game number 3.
He locked in, Bappy.
Gonna bring some more SCVs off the line to hold this push. That one Hellion survives.
Ooh,
on
the
red
SCVs
HP.
though.
Nice micro
They're
there to
being
keep that
pulled
alive
in.
for a while.
Ooh, gets a Hellion.
And it looks like it is going to be every unit from ByuN finally getting cleared up. There was one Reaper that jumped down the cliff here in the red HP. I can't believe how high Clem's work count is, by the way. Obviously, you went for CC first, so he's been making workers the whole time. But I was expecting to look down and see like 5 or 10 difference, you know?
3
But it's
CC.
pretty similar.
It's pretty similar.
This is a little bit desperate here. So if you look at the production tab, Clem is getting a third TC, so he's rushing into a very, very fast economy here to recover. It's quite risky though. This is a very risky maneuver here from Clem. It's a way to recover for sure. It's a way to bounce back.
That's not the case here. ByuN's actually up 6 supply just because Clem had to pull so many more SCVs because the SCVs.
But Clem, I mean, he has to do something extreme for sure. He has to.
Yeah, and he's going into a third CC and a Raven. Super kind of greedy, it feels like, from Clem. This one Hellion will just survive, but once again, SCVs had to be pulled here. They have to, you know, repair this Hellion, and all this is not mining time that you're using, right? So the income advantage goes ByuN's way by quite a large margin, but on the backside of it, Clem will have, you know, Ravens and Interference Matrix, which is nice.
Yeah, this time Clem going for the greedier play. He's been very aggressive in the first 2 games of this best of 5 series, but...
So if ByuN, if he's more passive here, if he backs off and he's more defensive, then Clem can recover in this game. But now he sees the third CC. Yeah, ByuN knows. ByuN is aware.
Yeah, this has been a wild game, and ByuN's coming in here trying to get more damage. Locks onto that Hellion, it will fall instantly. Here comes the Raven, though. That CC just needs a little tap. Just one last nail to bang in with a hammer there. And all the SCVs off the line here for ByuN right there. I didn't actually see what happened.
Auto turret from a Raven.
Ah, the auto turret harass. Okay, that makes sense.
Cycling and drop in now. ByuN trying to find even more damage. Word count's still very even, by the way. But I feel like it's just been chaos in the main base and the natural expansion here for Clem. I mean, these SCVs have spent so much time just idling, trying.
I think what's really important about the current game state here is that ByuN scouted, right? Because ByuN scouted the third TC, like he knows that he now needs to be more aggressive. He's gonna bleed out some units here. The Cyclone goes down. The Medevac is gonna go down as well. ByuN is getting his own third TC, and we're slowing things down.
Oh no, do they land on the...
So the game is going to slow down a little bit here, and it looks like ByuN, he's being aggressive, don't get me wrong. The goal here should be for ByuN to contain Clem, and ByuN is getting his own third TC.
Smaller and smaller. The third command center already done here for Clem and pumping out SCVs, whereas ByuN's just finished. He's transforming it now into an orbital command. Upgrades are a little bit faster here for ByuN. That's one of the main advantages that he's going to have moving forward into the mid-game. But things seem to have evened out. You know, the early stages of the pressure that ByuN was exerting absolutely went his way, but later on, ByuN maybe bit off a little bit more than he could chew, with Clem just absolutely locking down.
So I'd push against the idea of this evening out. The worker counts are evening out, that is true, but ByuN has more momentum right now. He has more control. He should be the first player to expand. On top of that, ByuN has Stim. Now, ByuN hasn't really achieved anything with Stim, to be fair. But he does have it.
Just does not, and he will pick up the Cyclone.
Nice catch there by
Yeah, here he
Clem.
comes.
ByuN seems like he just didn't have a scan to actually confirm the kill on that Raven.
So ByuN has a little pushing power with this, and he's going for the drop.
Loading up here in the center of the map. Okay, it's
Remember, he has Stim.
2. For some reason, I thought it was 3 or 4. I thought it was a whole army here of ByuN getting ready to move, but no, just gonna be a double drop.
These Ravens making a nuisance of themselves, still flying around.
Does scan the natural.
Do whatever they can.
Army's at the third.
Marine is out here on the map looking for this drop. Looks like the medevacs will fly just past him. Not sure if he actually saw that or not. They're going straight into the main base. The auto turret harass continues, but what is here
And he
for
gets
Clem
in.
to defend?
So far, decent damage. Tank does siege.
With Stimpack not being done, it's going to take
Gotta be careful, respect the tank.
Would actually get up here to the main base, so ByuN finding a lot of time to get damage done. 8 SCVs have already fallen. Now he's going for the engineering base. Does he actually have the time to take that out?
Ooh, gets a Raven as well.
Instead, just opting to snipe out a Raven.
Ay, ay, ay.
Still not done here for Clem, so ByuN, he's taking a
Oh,
pretty
gets 2
favorable
Ravens!
trade.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there is a Viking here, though, so these units are on a one-way trip.
calm
I
down.
don't think they'll be able to get home. Maybe that one medevac gets out there.
Yeah, with just 3 Marines, though.
With just 3, yeah. But 9 SCVs, a Raven.
2. It was 2
ByuN
Ravens.
did get something for it.
I think it was a very favorable trade there for ByuN, and he's
Yeah.
also pulled Clem a little bit out of position, and ByuN going to try and use that opportunity to siege up
ByuN is
here,
versus
but-
siege.
Oh man, if
Oh,
Clem
Clem
sees
doesn't see
this... Oh no, that siege tank shot getting a lot of damage done here on Clem's army. Clem absolutely does have the numbers to take this out, but the positioning certainly better for ByuN at the
Bit of
beginning.
an awkward engage.
Yeah, he's kind of cut Clem's army off.
Yeah,
away
this
from
is
his
ByuN
territory.
overextending, by the way.
Clem
Yeah,
has too much
ByuN does
time.
overextend. He bleeds out 2 tanks. He did not have enough Marines. ByuN, he makes a big mistake. 3 tanks go down.
Despite all the back and
Oof.
forth, all the damage Clem's taken throughout this game, for the first time, it looks like he's in somewhat of a, a good position here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very nice defense.
So
of the
you
push.
can see how quickly things swing one way and the other. 3 tanks is pretty huge. Like, we're making we only have 1 factory. We're making 1 tank at a time. So to lose 3 tanks like this, Clem suddenly, I believe, has a tank advantage. And this is where one of the big things about TVT comes into play, positional play. Positional play, you can be down 20, 30 supply, but if you are able to siege up in time, if you have that higher tank count, you can take better fights. ByuN just lost a lot of momentum there, overextending and attacking too soon.
Double eBay going nice and quickly in this game. Another CC on the way for Clem as well, looking to play a long macro game, getting his sensor towers, getting everything.
So Clem is recovering.
Another drop comes into the natural here.
ByuN just relentless with the aggression. Clem gonna clean this one up though without too much problem.
Like this drop, for example, wasn't worth it. He killed 2 SCVs and he lost a full medevac worth of units. And you can see ByuN's drop play is continuing. This is where it feels like ByuN is tunnel visioning, right? He's tunnel visioning a little bit too much. Like right now, ByuN, because of the early game and because how the game is unfolded, he's right now in the mindset of like he needs damage. He needs to do damage. He needs to punish Clem. But it's getting to the point where now we're getting some diminishing returns.
Yeah, that could be a big issue later as he goes to make his own 2-2. He's got barracks unfinished in the main as well. Another double drop comes in, going to pick off this turret.
We'll see if we can get done here.
Okay,
Picks up, okay.
The army is there and gets out.
I think Clem thinks that he started 2-2. I think he likely has the engineering base on a hotkey. I think he probably pressed the buttons to start 2-2, but it's just not. It's not coming. And I think only now is
massive misstep here. So there's going to be a big window here where we have 2-2 for ByuN, and Clem is going to be down an entire set of upgrades.
Yeah, now he starts 2-2, but ByuN's is all. I mean, the infantry weapons is finished. The armor is shortly to follow. He's going to be so far behind in upgrades. And in Marine versus Marine heavy armies.
So I believe Clem has the higher tank counts, and then ByuN has the better bio upgrades. And of course, ByuN is going for a much more Marine-centric army as well. So we could see ByuN take some better fights here, depending on how they engage.
So far, who's to say he can't actually defend with 1-1 versus 2-2?
Yeah, both players have their fourth.
Basically, Clem needs to fight with his tanks. He needs to fight with tanks, needs that support.
ByuN once again positioning aggressively on the map, looking towards this fourth base. I love the way Clem is sending out little Marines here and there down the attack paths to see where
ByuN's got the army, does siege.
Get that scouting info, and then he can set up his tanks in position to meet the army.
Yeah, and ByuN's getting ready to push, but it's actually Clem who has the larger.
Both armies are maxing out
right now. Clem seems like he stopped SCVs right around 71, 72, and said prioritizing military production, whereas ByuN already nearing 80 SCVs and continuing to produce more out of 3 of these command centers.
You can see ByuN is shocking around, is looking for a way in.
8% higher here for Clem. Interference Matrix, I think, did finish researching, by the way.
With that scan, I'm sure ByuN clicked on the units, so he knows that the bio army is down in upgrades.
Yeah, and worth noting that ByuN has no Vikings in his army, no Ravens.
He never does.
All the area of superiority is in Clem's favor.
He steams in. He's going for it.
Just going to shove here, going to push
does armor shred.
Tank line. This is crazy. So many
the tanks they hold.
The full back.
Oh my god.
For ByuN as well.
Yeah, insane fight for Clem. Clem, those tanks, not a single tank went down. Not a single tank went down. Massive tank shots on the Marines.
For the armor shredding missile, instead of going for the disable, I think it was a smart move. It mitigated a lot of the upgrade advantage that ByuN has. And ByuN, when you don't have air superiority like this, you kind of just need to charge in.
And if you saw ByuN, he plummeted 30 supply doing that. Like, that was a rough fight for ByuN.
Trying to maintain extra vision and just slow push in. That's not your game if you're just on siege tank.
But once again, this is ByuN being overly aggressive, right? This is ByuN, like, he has been feeling a lot of pressure to push in, to attack, to engage. And has been taking some worse fights as a result.
3-3 won't be too far behind ByuN because I think ByuN was hoping to end the game before 3-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a big 2-2 time, and he went for, and then he's like, oh, it doesn't work. Okay, well, I have to go into 3-3 now. Clem, though, going to be sending out a 4 medevac drop. The armies will meet here, but I don't think ByuN wants to commit into this without the tanks. The Marines have to be careful. They're taking so many shots from the tanks.
Yeah, massive tank shots, and once again, all the Marines go down. A double drop in the main base, and ByuN's being torn apart. He's being torn apart. Massive advantage here for Clem. He gets into the main base, cancels production, and what can ByuN do?
Yeah, he's losing so much here. Bring some tanks.
What can he do?
To help out, but he's already lost a lot. The army's in the middle as well. I think Clem has the advantage here. The Vikings are going to land.
Yeah, you can see Clem just tearing ByuN apart, dropping to the main base, catches all the tanks. ByuN took a bad fight into the tank line as well.
And take a decisive victory both in the main and on the map.
This command center not yet turned into a planetary fortress, so it will lift off and fly away. The one good thing that ByuN has going for him is that he has the gold base in the bottom left, and that has not yet been scouted. It's fully saturated right now with 12 SCVs, so the mineral income here for ByuN, it should start to see a little bit of an increase.
Well, can he get the kill? He can.
Is, basically every fight for the last 7 or 8 minutes has gone Clem's way.
It has.
Yeah, he's been playing extremely well. Going to pick off this reactor.
State's not wrong.
Just whatever small damage you can get, any edge. limiting your opponent's production. Clem will take it. Gonna get out of there with the Marines, and I feel like you said, if he finds out about the gold base, this game may end pretty quickly. But if ByuN's able to
Now, this is where the soup is lying to you. We say this all the time. The soup, it lies, papi. Right now, both armies are maxed out. ByuN, with the gold mineral patches, despite all these losses, he's able to maintain a large army, but it is heavy marine based. It is almost pure marine. So there's a lot of DPS, but as you can see, it's just almost pure marine. It's a very fragile army. Very, very fragile. So he's got to be very careful with this. It's very much so a glass cannon. You can see 93 Marines. Almost 100 Marines for ByuN. It's very cheap. It's a very cheap army. That's why it's maxed.
That is a wild army. He's just going so Marine heavy, and 5 more CCs being added in here. That's 1,500 minerals staying.
Yeah, that's 500.
So ByuN, he cannot fight head on, but if he can catch some tanks unsieged, if he can rotate, reposition, get into a base, get into a mineral line, drop into the main, for example, it's a very mobile, very flexible army. If he can catch Clem out of position, then ByuN can take a fight.
That base once again. I don't think he expects to get a whole lot done with that, but the scouting info is nice.
Oh, Clem with his, he doesn't actually spot the gold.
Ooh, doesn't see the gold.
With a Liberator that's heading over to the 9 o'clock expansion to try and get some pressure done. So Clem's still in the
he steams in. Tanks are exposed. Oh god, the tank shot soak.
Only 2 siege tanks set up here for Clem.
He only loses 1 tank. That's crazy. That's crazy. And here you can see, bam, ByuN, he plummets 40 supply. And the reason for this, as we mentioned, is because ByuN's army was very fragile. It was very flimsy, very fragile. So the 200 supply army looked scarier than it really was. And bam, with that, ByuN, he's now far behind. I mean, he just lost everything.
A lot more minerals, but the cost efficiency of Clem's army composition has just been through the roof. Not even talking about the positioning and the fights that Clem has been taking. Everything has just been so solid. Clem's army is just so much more advanced than what ByuN has. ByuN needs a dream engagement with a perfect surround. And even then, I'm not sure he can actually take the fight. I mean, 13 siege tanks with +2.
I see in the chat, where's Clem's army supply advantage? Tanks. Tanks, Ravens, Vikings.
Whilst he tries to hold
ByuN does counterattack, pushing into the bases.
Base race, but it actually looks like Clem has enough to hold on here. Whilst getting damage done on the other side of the map, things are getting a bit wild right now.
As you can see, Clem has 12 tanks to ByuN's 2. So that's what we were trying to emphasize earlier. The higher tank count means that Clem takes a better main fight. And the Ravens also had some complexity when it comes to anti-armor missiles.
ByuN trying to get some damage done, but you see just pure Marine trying to stem in. Armor shredding missile comes down. There's a huge line of siege tanks, and everything gets cleaned up. I think that's going to be it. GG is called in Clem with a 3-0 sweep.
I did not expect that. I thought ByuN was at least going to take a map for sure. I thought he even had decent chances. Obviously, you probably favor Clem, but man, he played good today.
It's kind of crazy that Clem played Protoss versus Terran up until a couple patches ago.
Right.
I mean, that just looks so good. ByuN's one of the best 2v2 players in the entire world. And
really
Clem,
is, yeah.
with 2 very different styles showcased in this series. Siege tank pushes on 1 base, siege tank pushes on 2 bases in game 1 and game 2, but then the long macro game in game number 3. I have to say, as somebody who hasn't seen a lot of Clem's TBT because he's mostly been playing Protoss, I saw those first 2 games and I was thinking, all right, this is good, but maybe he's a little bit one-dimensional. That is not the case.
No, he brought a whole range of styles there.
So
I'm just still not over the
we'll let him
CC
finish.
first and the double racks, how good the defense was, and you can lose a lot of SCVs because you're making 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And then his transition from that and how just kind of comfortable he looked in the chaos, and then macroing out of it to a big army. Really, really good stuff.
So GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Clem does claim the series. I do stand by saying that ByuN, I would say, was favored coming into this. Game 1 and Game 2 were almost build order. Game 1 was a build order win for Clem. Game 2 was ByuN making mistakes, if you remember. We were emphasizing this, we were trying to bring attention to this. But game number 2 and game number 3 had the same openers, but ByuN did lock in. He locked in for game 3, and he did make less mistakes when it comes to the early game. So we saw that ByuN, he actually was able to play some StarCraft in game number 3. Game number 2 did miscontrol, did make mistakes, and ByuN got punished for it. So Clem was able to take that despite having what should have been a more punishable opener, and Clem initially took the 2-0 lead. Here in Game 3, this is maybe the best game we saw out of ByuN because he was actually able to get into his own game state, but I would emphasize that it felt like ByuN was very pressured, like mentally, to be hyper-aggressive. to a fault, right? Where initially it was working, right? He was doing damage, he was killing SCVs, he was crippling Clem. Clem had to be extreme to recover by going for a fast third CC. And then if you remember, we pointed it out, there was a time in that game when ByuN kept dropping and it wasn't worth it anymore. Like where he was dropping and he was losing units for 2 SCVs. He was losing like a full medevacs full of Marines for like 1 or 2 workers, losing more drops on the top side as well. Like we did try to emphasize that there was a turning point there where the aggression from ByuN stopped working, but he kept going for it. He kept going for it. He kept hammering across the map and being extremely aggressive to the point where he was taking worse fights. He was taking bad fights, and we saw that Clem was recovering and then gaining a lead, and then gaining a greater lead, and then a greater lead from there. So it did feel like ByuN was maybe too hyper-fixated on trying to punish Clem, again, to a fault, when then everything kind of like snowballed out of control. GG, well played. So really impressive play there by Clem. We mentioned this during the quote-unquote break earlier, where I do like that Clem is now being more aggressive than he used to be, and we saw that excel in the first 2 games. Here in game 3, we saw that Clem, he was more of a defensive player, but that was more on ByuN being overly aggressive. But this is ByuN's style, and this is where ByuN, this is why he struggles in TVT. This is why, like, I would say that Kira and Maru and RyuN have stronger TVT than ByuN, is that ByuN's style is very Marine-centric, where he has less tanks than his opponents, he has less Vikings than his opponent, less Ravens than his opponent. Typically, ByuN, this is standard for him, where he has a weaker army, but he has a more mobile army, but this doesn't scale well if you fail to get damage done. If the drops start failing, then everything very quickly swings in favor of ByuN's opponent. This is very commonly seen whenever ByuN plays against Kira, plays against Maru, plays against RyuN, plays against the other Terran players. So this is a relatively common dynamic with ByuN's TVT. It makes his TVT fun to watch because it is very drop heavy and very aggressive, and there's a lot of like movements from ByuN, which makes it a lot of fun. It's very unique, but unfortunately, once it stops getting damage done, then very quickly like it becomes less viable, of course. But GG well played. With that, congratulations, Clem. He will claim the series, and with that, we're going to be following our players into. We're going to be jumping into our next series. It's going to be a ZVZ between Rogue and Lambo. Let's go. Just catching up with the chat. Here we go. I think we saw why Clem hates CVT. I mean, I hope that I emphasized it. I hope that I was able to hammer home that point previously as well. Mid-series, we spoke about some of the TVT dynamic and the build and the openers and kind of the advantage or disadvantage you can have just purely from those openers. I hope I was able to kind of make that a little bit clear, and I hope the series itself kind of showed that as well. That's just been a part of TV. That's been a big part of TVT for many years, though. Like that's kind of been that has been the case for quite some time, which is why Clem kind of switched to Protoss. But now he's back. Now he is back. And we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes for our next series, for our next ZVZ. See you soon. See you soon after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the RSL. The RSL, the Rival StarCraft League Season 6 Playoffs Day 2 co-stream. We just wrapped up with our first series with our TBT between Clem and ByuN. Now we're here with our second series of the broadcast with our ZVZ, another mirror matchup between Lambo and Rogue. Let's go. Let us go. As we are getting to our next matchup, as we're getting to our next series.
Now it's time to talk about Zerg. Yeah, it's going to be a Zerg versus Zerg here. Two of the top guys in this matchup.
But again, it's been really fun. It's been really fun seeing Clem play TBT again. He's returned to the TBT aspect of the matchup here. But now we're going to be focusing on ZVZ again, Lambo versus Rogue. We expect this to be another short series as well. Right now, all mirror matchups are more aggressive than previously. The reasoning for this is because of a lot of the changes, of course. 10 pools are very powerful. They're very, very strong right now. It's very difficult to defend, very difficult to maintain yourself. And then, as always, when it comes to regular ZVZ, two-base aggression is common in the last patch as well. I want to emphasize this just because it can be very easy, especially if people are like out of the meta or take a break from the game or don't necessarily recall certain aspects, especially because, to be fair, we don't really cover much mirror matchups on our channel. Whenever we cover an open cup, we usually try to avoid mirror matchups as well, true. But ZVZ last patch was very aggressive on two bases, was hyper aggressive. Now it is more so. What is the reason for that? 10 pool is a big part of that, for sure. Another part of that, of course, is the Mutalisk. The Mutalisk has been buffed, so now two-base Muta is much more threatening than it once was before. I mean, it already was. Like, two-base Muta was already a big thing last year. This year, it's even stronger as well, so we see a lot of two-base play as a result. We'll get into it as we load into our series.
What did they die to? What did they beat? And come up with a plan here. The first map is going to be at Eternity's Edge. Of course, ZVZ has changed a lot on the 8-worker start. You have a little bit more of rock, paper, scissors than it used to be on the 12-worker start, where hatch first could just hold everything. Now, you know, it's a little bit scary to go for that hatch first against a 10 pool, for example, which is a little bit, you know, not as good into a later pool.
Once again, I do appreciate that Sturgeon and State, they said this in the last series, and they're saying it here as well, the rock, paper, scissors aspect, and that is true. Like, there is more of a rock, paper, scissors aspect when it comes to the openers here in ZVZ. I would say it's less extreme compared to TVT. I think I still stand by saying that TVT has that kind of rock, paper, scissors dynamic is much more prevalent in TVT, more so than in PvP or ZVZ, for sure. But it still does exist in this matchup as well, and is even more prolific just because of the strength of 10 pools and early pool timings,
but there is that aspect of,
and the inability to go hatch first. True.
Obviously, you can outplay in any situation, but this game you see Rogue going for the pool first and Lambo going for the hatch first. So that slightly favors Lambo. There is no like gas with this for Rogue, so no crazy all in. He'll just be getting his own hatchery afterwards. So Lambo's eco will be just a smidge better, but nothing too much that you could call it like a solid advantage or anything like that.
Yeah, I was watching Cyril versus Shin yesterday when I was casting that with Gemini, and I think we had a couple games which had the same setup where it's pool first versus hatch first like this. And there is that small window where the hatchery is done and you're getting a couple more drones out where, you know, in this case, Lambo would have the advantage. But it feels like things equalize pretty quickly with the first inject.
Yeah, you get that inject mode.
I would push back against the analysis that's currently being conducted. We spoke about it yesterday as well in regards to the ZVZ. There is a pretty big difference when it comes to hatch first and pool first. It isn't just about the economy, it's about the early worker count, yes, but it's also about the gas. We were trying to emphasize this previously, and whenever we saw it pool first, usually it means later gas, later link speed. It typically means early two-base play or hidden link speed. So we have that dynamic here as well, where Lambo went for a standard opener, Rogue went pool first, Rogue has later gas, and because his gas is later, we expect Rogue to play two-base and skip link speed. Why is that? Because look at the production tab. Link speed is starting for Lambo at a standard timing, and for Rogue to go into link speed here, it'd be quite difficult to keep up. He does go for link speed, and we just spoke about this. If we do go into link speed, there's a higher chance that Rogue is going to go for a link flood to try to catch his opponent off guard and try to hide his build of choice. So eyes are going to be on Rogue. That is an early nest out of Lambo though. That's very early.
He's not just making nothing but lings behind this. We'll go and scout.
You can see it's in the main.
Number of drones at the natural. Get that confirmation.
A lot more Lings in production.
And it's hidden for Rogue as well.
Building a Roach Warren, and interestingly doing
Let's
this
go.
in the main base, not the natural.
Rogue is going for an all-in.
This kind of tells me that Rogue wants to be aggressive early on. He's not using the Roach Warren to try and form any sort of wall here at the natural.
And Lambo's link flooding. So we're about to get chaotic here. Everyone's getting chaotic. Lambo's Bane Nest is very early, signifying a Bane Bust. Meanwhile, Rogue's Roach Warren and Bane Nest is unorthodox, leading into an all-in.
Of his own, though. He sends this drone out here
So
to make the
both players are being hyper aggressive against each other in different ways. I don't know who this favors, to be honest. I don't know. Let's just enjoy.
Rogue started the hatchery and then cancels it.
Yeah, force to cancel.
He is going to have a lot of... Oh, I was going to say he's going to have a chance to make some roaches, but actually look at the supply. It's 45 out of 48 here for Rogue. He needs an Overlord pretty soon.
Also, in the chat, predictions. Prediction open play show best. Who do you think will claim the series? Best of luck. Best of luck for predictions. The Bailings.
Bailings almost hatched here. You got to be so careful as Lambo. One bad connection could just end this game for you if you're not careful. These queens are going to come forward, try to take out the...
Lambo's droning. That's important. Lambo's droning up behind this.
So he's not looking to end the game here, just looking for an overreaction from Rogue as the first Banes go in, all on move.
Oh my god, better connection for Lambo.
That's a nice connection there for Lambo, but there's enough Banelings alive here for Rogue that it's pretty tough for Lambo to try and come in and find an angle.
Well, what's important is that Lambo is out trading Rogue, and this means that Rogue's counterattack is going to be weaker. It's going to be a weaker counterattack.
Able to help out there. And the pressure continues. He's going to try and move
the
the spine
in.
to the front. Lambo
The middle line.
Nice transfuse saves that one though. But
yeah, massive connections.
Okay, now Lambo is in the lead.
Rogue's in trouble. Rogue is in trouble. He's been outperformed when it comes to the trades. He lost his economy. He's now down a base.
And then just dived on the drones after that.
Yeah, Lambo.
Lambo!
At the top of the ramp. I thought he had vision with the Overlord, but just eats that Banelin shot there, and there's nothing.
He checks with the face,
baby. So worrying. Okay, here we go. The roaches.
Here come the roaches for Rogue.
And he is going to be trying to send it back across the map. Lambo has a 10-worker lead, which is good in terms of eco, but maybe, you know, too much in terms of how many units you can get out to actually hold this.
Yeah, there was a brief moment where it seemed like Rogue was deciding which way.
Now, remember, because Lambo was droning behind this, he does have a higher worker count. He's going to get further ahead in a longer game. Rogue is going for an all-in, and currently Lambo is still droning up, which is scary. It's scary to drone right now.
He's just going to full send with roaches and lings. He wants to do nothing but try and barrel down the third and the natural expansion here of Lambo.
Yeah, Lambo's Roach Run is on the way, but I'm not sure if it's going to be finished for this attack. The Roaches already making their way across. And it's so hard to hold Roach Ling Bane with only Ling Bane. Because the Roaches can...
Yeah, here comes the all-in. Again, it's going to be on the Roaches for Rogue to focus fire the Banelings. He's got to focus the Banelings and keep his Lings back and make sure he does not take a Baneling to the face and then overwhelm. The Roaches is going to be the core of Rogue's army. Here he comes.
A moment like this one, it feels like those spines take forever to build. They're only about halfway done now, and a Rogue is already coming into the natural expansion.
Roaches, they lead the charge.
Roaches. No full wall here for Lambo. Spine Crawler's still not
be careful.
yet
The
done.
Banelings.
The Roaches
Oh my god.
The first Queen Baneling connections there by the ramp, and a Rogue is flooding in.
Yeah, he's flooding in. He's getting around to the Roaches.
Here. Good spread from Lambo. He's going to actually gets a ton of Banelings of Lambo as well as 8 drones.
Rogue has done it. Rogue has done it. Massive Baneling connections. He gets on some of the Roaches. They're just not ready. They're not ready in time. Too much drones. Too much greed there out of Lambo. Getting ready for a longer game. He didn't know.
In the mineral line of the natural expansion. Now the Banelings, they're trying to connect around the drones in the main base. A lot of these drones in the red. Lambo, how many more units is he actually producing? Because it feels like there is nothing on the ground right now. It's starting to peter around the natural expansion, but 20 drones have fallen.
And that is too much. Rogue takes game number 1 there with the kind of counterattack after the initial pressure of Lambo. I feel like Lambo got a lot of damage done.
GG well played. Again, Rogue, he went for the all-in. Lambo, he droned up a little bit too much. Remember, he droned up, I want to say he droned up 13 extra workers over his opponent. Lambo was ahead, to be fair. He was ahead, but he got too far ahead. And I say too far ahead, he was just a little bit too greedy in the response. One of the reasons why this happened, remember, Lambo didn't see the Roach Warren. He did not see the Roach Warren in the main base, so I believe he didn't see the Roach Warren. So as a result, he was less aware of the potential of a Roach base all-in, hitting that quickly, hitting that hard. He believed that he had more time to himself to be able to drone, saturate, and get into his own Roach production. Remember, the Roach one for Rogue was hidden inside the main. And when Lambo hit the natural, I don't believe he got into the main base to confirm what was going on. So Lambo felt that he was safer than he really was. GG well played.
You know, some fireworks on both ends. I really like Lambo's choice to build that pressure. Going to drone behind it, getting the third. Maybe he's a little bit too greedy with it. I mean, he doesn't see what we see. He doesn't know there's a Roach Warren in the main. That's a tricky move from Rogue.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's able to use
So
that
Surgeon, he just put it up. I wish they emphasized it a little bit more, but at least they did notice, the caster did notice as well, that again, Rogue had his Roach Warren hidden in the main base, which did not get scouted, so Lambo didn't realize that a Roach Warren was going to be hitting as hard and as quickly as it did.
Rogue, the red Zerg in the top left. And already a pretty energetic start to this series.
Yeah, indeed. Very action-packed. Now, as Lambo, I mean, you really don't want to go 2-0 down in the series.
See you, chat.
Then your opponent has
Lambo's plan to transition would have worked if he didn't face check that ramp with the Lings. I think I disagree. I think the all-in still would have hit the same way that it did. Again, like, I would emphasize that a big reason for it was just that Lambo didn't know. He's templing. Lambo's going for the temple, but Lambo just didn't know that there was a fast Roach Warren, so he didn't know that he had to be concerned about a fast Roach all-in. I would push back against the idea of if he had saved those Lings. I think what I would say is that if he had saved those Zerglings, there's a higher chance that he gets a Ling past the army and that he scouts. I think that's more important. It's less about saving those Lings to survive and to defend, but it's more about having those Lings to have some kind of presence and vision on the map to get past the army and to see the Roach one ahead of time and to see the Roaches coming, because that would give Lambo precious seconds to get Spine Crawlers, to get Roaches, and to muster up a defense. So I think I would tentatively agree, but not because Lings would help in the defense, but because Lings would allow for more scouting, and that would give faster information to Lambo to be able to react.
Now, Rogue on his side of the map, he is going for a pool first opening again. So this is a pretty conservative, safe opening that Rogue is doing.
And it is the
meanwhile, Lambo is going for the 10 pool. He's going for, oh, Jesus. He's doubling down.
4 Banes.
One base all in.
You can make like 2 to 4 Banes. And then you try and get the hatchery with kind of minimal investment. You pull out of gas after you have as much gas as you need for the Banes, and then you get your hatchery behind it. So compared to the temple, though, you have the Banelins, which give you a lot more power with this push.
So Lambo,
Not necessarily trying to end the game. You see, he's only got 2 on the gas right now, so not.
I would disagree with what Sturgeon's saying. Sturgeon, he's saying like, oh, you can expand behind this. Lambo's all in. Lambo's 100% all in. Lambo's build here is designed to hide a 10 pool. Like, he's 10 pooling, and he's going to have Banelings behind this, and he's going to force a reaction, and he ideally wants to try to catch out the army with his own Banes.
No idea these Banelings are morphing in, and the drone's actually chasing quite far here. Lambo going to be moving on past them.
Yeah, Lambo's still mining gas. I'm just keeping an eye on that.
Oh my goodness. It's like a jump scare. These Banelings now coming in. And you have to defend the Queen here as Rogue.
Yeah, the Queen's going to surround it.
Tricky position. The Queen all the way down on the ramp. Those Banelings could connect onto 3 Lings if they want to, instead just staying alive for now.
Wow, the Queen focused both the Banelings down, but there's so many Lings remaining here.
Yeah, and Lambo's done it. Lambo, he's done it. He has broken Rogue.
This is a lot of damage.
He needs those drones, though.
Rogue just running around with
Can he get the damage?
Buy time for this Spine Crawler to get in position.
Oh, this is such a cool
another Baneling's on the way.
And just like you called, he's going for the
behind this, Lambo now expands. He still kept mining gas. That's important, as opposed to what Sturgeon was saying, how he would pull out.
Queen. There's still Banelings here on the field for Lambo. The natural expansion, it's still under threat. And as Rogue, you don't really want to move that Spine Crawler down to the natural.
Lambo, can he kill the natural?
In case Lambo decides to go up into the main.
Yeah, and also you might just lose it as it's, you know, transferring down the ramp.
Oh.
But these Banelings are just such a threat here, and
takes on the Lings.
Full engagement because you just lose your Lings. But beautiful dancing here with the move command on these Banes.
I kind of want Lambo to have spent a Baneling there. I feel like he would have maintained like maybe 6 more Lings.
At the end of the day, he's taken a 2 worker lead, which is quite nice, you know.
Really nice circling micro there by Lambo, keeping those low HP Lings alive.
Okay, as it all settles, as I'm mentioning, Lambo, he's up in workers, he's getting his own base up and running as well. I still stand by saying that Lambo wanted more damage. Lambo, ideally, he wanted to kill then and there. I do think that maybe towards the end he was a little bit too conservative with those Banelings when it came to zoning away the Lings. But he might still be able to snowball from here as he has faster Ling speed. True.
I mean, he should be able to defend just fine. Oh, you don't lose these Banelings. I was going to say you can defend just fine with Queen and a couple Banes. But not if you throw them away for 1 Ling. You got to be careful.
Yeah, word count's dead even right now as both players are droning up. Lambo has started Zergling speed though.
Yeah, Rogue just has enough to start his speed now, but Lambo also has the Banelin tech.
And it's going to be a lair. No Zergling speed here for Rogue.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we're going to be seeing Roaches again. He's adding
That's so risky.
Already. can't
So,
really afford to go for the
because Rogue is going into the lair, there's going to be a big window in time where Lambo can Bane Bust. Lambo can Bane Bust Rogue, 100%. We'll see if he goes for it though. Like, does he take that opportunity? Does he try to all in?
He does it. He still have the spine from the earlier defense.
Nah.
Lambo also going to take his own layer.
Yeah, the lair tells us that Lambo's going to tech.
Rogue's wall. So it looks like we're kind of rounding out the early game tech here. They've got their Baneling Nest. Rogue doesn't have speed, so he's not going to be able to be aggressive at all until his layer's done, but his layer is much quicker.
Yeah, Baneling Nest.
Lambo's explaining though, so it seems like he never planned to end it there. If that was the case, Lambo would have pulled out of gas after morphing in the first two Banelings, like Sturgeon stated. Obviously, he did choose to expand, but that's after he realized that he could no longer kill. Like, I do feel like the plan was to kill there. Then once he realized that he couldn't, then he like backed off and expanded.
I think he's going to be adding the gases sooner than natural expansion, but the way the mineral economy, you see, even right now, only on 2 gases, he can barely afford what he's producing. It's more important to get these drones up as fast as possible here in the main and the natural expansion.
Like, if the plan is to force an overreaction and to get a faster base behind it, you'd pull out a gas, have extra mineral income, and then get a faster hatchery, right?
The good thing for Lambo is
just to emphasize the difference between the thought process of what the plan would have been.
Gas than Rogue right now, so he will have more mutas at some point. A bit more gas being spent on Banelings there, and in muta versus muta, it's all about the gas. All about who can make the most mutas and take the map control the, get the third base quicker, get that 5th and 6th gas up, get the bigger muta flock.
In a muta versus muta situation like this one, where Lambo knows this opponent's going into mutas, Rogue doesn't necessarily have the idea that Lambo is going into muta, or he's about to scout ahead with the Overseer. I'm wondering if you go into +1 air weapons or +1 armor first here on the Spire, because air weapons, I mean, it's good against everything, but the armor is going to help a lot with the glaives, right?
Yeah, muta versus muta, you always go armor, just because it works. You get it 3 times for each glaive bounce, so it just helps a lot. And it's basically, if you have armor and they have attack and you have equal mutas, the armor player will win.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's important that Sturgeon added a caveat to that, because that's true in the sense that specifically when they have even mutas, +1 carapace is better. That is true. If you don't have even mutas, on +1 flyer attack is better, but that's only if you have a muta advantage. We do see that Rogue is going into +1 carapace. Lambo does not begin an upgrade though.
He wants to levy some pressure now with Ling's speed finishing up.
But you heard it, the Sturgeon, he added the qualifier at the end there, which does make the statement correct.
Yeah, Lambo has so much more gas. If he can actually spend it all on mutas, he will have more. Both of them took really early gases at their third base. Obviously gas is the priority in muta versus muta.
Oh, Jesus.
You gotta be careful with these Banelings in this situation.
Lambo,
okay,
cuidado, papi, cuidado.
They will
He's
send
crazy.
these Banelings home. And now the flock will begin to grow.
Yeah, both players already pulling back their overlords into their respective sides of the map. And Lambo spawning the double gas here at the third base. It's almost like a Phoenix versus Phoenix war in PvP. I wonder who's going to blink first in terms of trying to get something done, because I imagine with muta counts being about as even as they are going to be, it's a little bit awkward to try and push across the map and try and get damage done.
Yeah, it can be the defender's advantage, especially if you sit over a spore crawler. They do so much damage now. That can help a lot. So if you do have the bigger flock, I think one of the best ways to get ahead is just to take an extra base. Try and get more gas that way. That's one way you can.
Yeah, the problem here is that when Lambo, when he's able to scout and click on the mutas, and when he sees that he's at an upgrade disadvantage, he should just stay home, right? Like, I don't see him really being active against an upgrade disadvantage.
Third bases, get this eco going and get as many mutas out as they can.
And Lambo notably does have +1 melee attack, whereas Rogue has no evolution chamber upgrades. So in terms of the Ling versus Ling war, it is better for Lambo. He's able to find these little skirmishes with Lings. That is one way that he can kind of win a war of attrition with Rogue, by trying to take very small fights that slowly add up to a resource advantage here for Lambo.
Yeah, that is true. I think Rogue already has +1 carapace on his mutas, though.
He does.
So he's going to have the kind of air superiority, whereas Lambo has the ground superiority. Interesting trade-off here.
Rogue up 10 workers, by the way, so he's going to be mining a lot more minerals.
Yeah, this is just a really rough start for Lambo. The transition into muta play, the decision not to be aggressive with Ling Bane, of course. It is important that they brought up that Lambo, he does have at least +1 melee, and that will help when it comes to harassing potentially, like Ling run-bys, Ling harass, Ling Bane engagements. Like, this upgrade can be impactful, maybe. Like, there's potential.
Yeah, Lambo, once these extra meters...
Is that position? No, the queen!
Rogue finding good damage over there, the third base. The Lings and Banelings out of position for Lambo. Actually, Rogue continues.
Yeah, Lambo gets zoned away. Massive zoning.
The Banelings might have zoned away the Lings of Lambo for a moment.
They did.
So 7 drones of Lambo fall. In addition to the queen, Lambo now down to 2 queen. Has to remake that one if he needs to use the larva. Rogue's just getting a lot of damage done right now with these very small...
Lambo's just in a very rough position, down in economy, down in mutas. There's no reason for Rogue to press the issue. There's no reason. Rogue, he can just chill back at home, build up, max out on mutas, and then overwhelm.
His own little pack of his own Lings though, but Lambo's kind of boxed him into a box here. He's caught a lot of this army in the middle of the map. Gets 1 muta for free.
Oof.
Equal upgrades right now in the muta fight. Lambo doesn't want to go for the engagement just yet though. Quite feel like he has the numbers. Lambo overall 31 meters to 29 of Rogue, and Lambo eventually you're gonna have to take these fights. I mean, it's so much damage being done.
Taking some brutal losses there.
Even Banelings looking to find the connections here onto Lambo's Lings, do not get them. But now Rogue with 1/1 upgrades to just though +1 armor here of Lambo. The upgrades are so much better for Rogue.
Yeah, Lambo's finally decided to send it here. Mutas fighting mutas, Lings fighting Lings. There's a couple Banes in the army.
And Rogue just overwhelms. He just hate moves. GG.
Game number 2. Rogue goes up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, I mean, Lambo, he was kind of forced into trying to make that push happen because he lost the queen, he lost the drones. He was already skimping on workers quite a bit. You know, he was down like, what, 6 or 7 drones compared to Rogue earlier on. And then Rogue, I mean, he takes the fight, and the faster upgrades, they just absolutely
GG, well played. Again, I really liked the early game there for Lambo. I did like the aggressive nature of Lambo as well, to go for the 10 pull, to go for the Baneling follow-up, and to get some damage done. As you mentioned, his hatchery was late. He did decide to go for a later hatchery. He did invest into further gas. I do think that if that was the case, then he should have committed a little bit harder there, because in the end, Rogue was able to recover, able to build up on 2 bases. If you remember, we did take note of the fact that that there was going to be a window in time where Lambo would have Ling Bane and Ling Speed over his opponent, and we thought he might go for an all-in, but then he chose to get a lair. He chose to get a lair, which meant that those resources invested into Ling Speed didn't really come into play. It meant that the advantage that he had was kind of being stripped away, and it gave Rogue the opportunity to recover and to bounce back. Both players, they built up on 2 bases, into 2 base lair, into 2 base muta. Rogue did invest into the muta upgrades. What did Lambo invest into? Plus on melee. And in the end, it wasn't worth it. In the end, that gas could have been spent on a muta upgrade instead of a ground upgrade. And in the end, it all came down to the muta flock and the muta engage, where Lambo couldn't quite keep up. It also came down to the economy as well. Lambo was down in workers, down in economy. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll have the rest of the series. Hopefully, we get a back and forth and a longer matchup here, but the pressure is on Lambo. Hopefully, he can take a moment, take a breath, and start to reset to maybe begin that comeback. We'll see you soon after the break. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the RSL Rival StarCraft League Season 6 Playoffs Day number 2 co-stream. We're here, we are back, and currently, Rogue is up 2-0. Rogue is up 2-0 here in the final series of the broadcast. We'll see if Lambo can begin the comeback. Again, so far, it's still going to be a short broadcast day, but that is common when it comes to RSL. I also want to make sure that is, I feel like people like to forget, or they very quickly do kind of like push things under the rug, but for the past 2, if not 3 seasons, this was the case. Like 2-hour broadcast days for playoffs have been quite common because aggression has been favored for the past couple of seasons of RSL. Like 1 base play, 2 base play, like hyper aggression, like that has been the norm. That has been the case even pre-patch, even last patch and last expansion, even last patch. That has been the case for quite some time. But here we go. We're going to be loading into game number 3. Bottom left-hand corner, we have a German Zerg. For Shopify Lambo, top right, it is Rogue.
In terms of like the macro, like I kind of prefer Clem in like a TVP, you know? But the thing is, like, Hero, his game sense is so good. He is so good at making a game scrappy and just bringing you down into the mud with him and just winning the mud wrestle. And that's kind of the same way that Rogue is, you know? And in my mind, they're kind of the same. So it makes sense that Rogue is doing so well in this patch, but I mean, my goodness, it's like a level above what my expectation was.
Yeah, that team match where he went, what did you say it was 12-0 or 14-0?
I think it was something like
that. That was like the first time we really saw Zerg on the new patch. It was like the first impressions, and Rogue did that. He did irreparable damage to the Zerg. Like, they're like, no, we got enough Zerg. But yeah.
I mean, the first couple iterations of the larva was it did seem quite crazy, but Rogue is just exceptional. I love that he's been able to carry the momentum as we had a couple more iterations.
They're not telling the full story there. They're talking about GSL-CK. If you remember, we were the official English casters for GSL-CK. They're talking about when Rogue went 13-0. It wasn't just that it went 13-0. It was also that that it was explained in an interview afterwards that Rogue did that with 0 practice. Like he had no practice on the new patch and the new iteration of the game. He was just playing standard. He was just using his fundamentals, and it went 13-0. It was crazy. That was crazy. So there's a little bit more to that story, but yeah, that was now like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Was last game? I know we just.
If you want the VODs, check them out on YouTube. GSL-CK.
Yeah.
If you want to see Rogue 13-0, the Korean scene.
The ZVZs, they kind of blend together, you know? We just had Sarah versus
like the days in vacation. Too. They all just blend together. Oh, Lambo's actually taking the pocket base here as well.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, this is a cool build.
Oh, gasless.
So far, going for that quick 3rd hatchery. It is not a full base down there, but it's definitely one you can put to use.
I wonder how long Lambo will be playing this gasless. By the way, very tight build. You see Lambo right now, he kind of skips an Overlord. He just uses the extra supply from the hatchery. That is how tight this build is. Saving those 100 minerals allows him to get that hatchery up just a little bit faster. So
gonna talk about
really just specializing in this build right now. And he's gonna have a huge economy behind this.
Yeah, if he's left to kind of drone.
Okay, so talking about the build here, Lambo, he's going gasless. This is a very greedy build. This kind of build is very common on maps that have a pocket expansion. So think of Celestial Enclave, think of Raz's Station, infamously as well. And there was a map on, I think it was Crimson Court. I think Crimson Court was another one where you can open up the pathway into the 3rd base and it's fully sealed off. I think it's Crimson Court. I think that was a map as well. But those were the kind of maps where gasless openers were viable, and we're seeing it here as well on Celestial Enclave. So it's not like this is a new build. This is an old build, but it is very map specific, and you do need that prerequisite of having these very, very safe 3rd base locations. Now, this does mean that Lambo will have late gas. He will have later link speed. Typically, you skip link speed. You skip link speed, and you go into heavy either muta play or roach play. Meanwhile, Rogue is rushing a +1 carapace. That is typically signifying an all-in. +1 carapace typically means a Ling Roach all-in. That's what we're leading towards from Rogue.
Gasless with that quick 3rd hatchery, so only just now is he taking a 2nd gas.
I say typically because I know that the timings are different now because the carapace upgrade is cheaper. For those that are unaware, carapace did become cheaper on this patch. That was one of the changes that was made in the PTR.
Out on the map, a full base.
It doesn't seem like Rogue is keen on getting particularly aggressive with this. And actually, can we hop on Rogue's vision for just a second? I wonder if he spotted the pocket base. I figure he must have been able to check for the creep. Yeah, he did see this. Okay. So Rogue knows exactly what is going on right now, and he knows that Lambo is likely playing kind of defensive behind this. It's a very greedy opening that Lambo is going for. And so Rogue, he doesn't have to commit to the pressure. He can do something kind of greedy like go for.
Yeah, I like what State is saying here. I do agree that typically this leads into an early +1 timing and all-in, but State is identifying that Rogue is droning, Rogue is taking, there's no early Roach Warren. Rogue will just have the upgrade advantage coming into this.
He says, okay, I can take my pocket base, my third base at the front, get more minerals than you. I can go for a quick layer, which you can't punish because you didn't have gas for a long time. But the income advantage is quite firmly in Lambo's favor for the moment.
Economically, Lambo is ahead, but Rogue is
plus on melee
ahead in terms of tech. You know, he already has the
That's crazy.
Carapace. He's
going mass muta. He's going mutas with 1/1 ground upgrades.
As well. So even though the economy is, I guess, now considerably smaller.
The reason why I say that, you would never get +1 melee if the plan was going to Roach heavy play.
Yeah, there should be mutas again, I guess. He's up to 4 gas already. There is the Spire just after the layer finishes. So these Roaches of Lambos won't be able to do much if the mutas get out. He'll have to, you know, make extra queens, get his spore crawlers, and all that kind of anti-muta stuff. Lambo's actually making a lot of roaches right now.
Yeah, and Lambo right now, I think that he is basically at full saturation for these 3 bases, especially with these extra 2 drones finishing up.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, he could just continue to pump the gas in terms of roach production. He's going for a 4th base right now. This is going to be the 6 o'clock expansion. And Rogue.
The issue right now for Lambo has been very greedy this game. He's gotten away with a lot of greed as well. But Lambo, he's not going to be pushing without his upgrades. So we're still a ways away from 1/1 and a ways away from roach speed. So this is giving Rogue a lot of time to actually build up his own muta counts. Now, thankfully, Lambo, he's somewhat aware. Hydroden, so he will have anti-air. Lambo's going to have a very robust army, but there is going to be a window here where Rogue has mutas and there's going to be limited anti-air. A lot of this will come down to how much damage can Rogue get done with these mutas.
Just accept that he will be playing a little bit more passively and defensively in this game. As he tries to get in here, does confirm the Spire. That's an excellent scout for him. So now he can throw down those spores, get all his anti-air ready, and decide how he's going to deal with these.
Now Rogue still about 7 or 8 drones behind Lambo, but he's focusing more on the gas income as opposed to the mineral income. That's the real bottleneck here for Rogue.
True.
So many Lings out here on the map. +1 melee just finishing up now. That does give them a lot more DPS. And Lambo's taking his 4th base here. No 4th base in sight for Rogue at the moment. Going to clear out all these overlords from the map. Reduce the vision of Lambo. Make him remake those. And he's going for the Bane there. So he's actually going to commit to Mutaling Bane in this game. Going to make as many mutas as possible. Add in Banelings to deal with Hydralisk later on.
Oh, the supply block.
Yeah,
and it does catch a couple of Hydras. Not bad.
Actually hopping in here between
Guess who?
the 3rd base, or the main base, able to snipe
4?
a number of these Hydras.
Ooh,
Bringing up, what, just 1 muta? That's excellent here for Rogue. And he's also working on those rocks. Because he cleared out the Overlords, I'm not sure Lambo is aware of this.
Yeah, he may see it shortly. Okay, he actually does not see it at all.
Yeah, there's no creep spread or anything to give vision of these rocks going down. And I think that Rogue is aware that Lambo just has no idea. He confirms it actually with these mutas. If the Lings all get into the main base with 1/1, that could be huge.
Base trade. Oh, nah, he doesn't commit.
Okay, Rogue.
He races back home.
Decision to make. Does he try
no Banelings. No Baneling speed.
Just Lings and mutas, or does he go for
but the goal is to surround the Hydras. He's going for it. He's getting a couple of Hydras. And there's not enough. Wow, not enough Hydras. The mutas that will kill everything. Lambo, why are we out here?
The rest of these roaches unopposed. And Lambo will have to go home here. He still retains a supply advantage. A lot of roaches left.
That's dead supply, though.
The anti-air to continue fully sending this forward.
I like him sectioning off a couple of these roaches.
Yeah, this was a really odd decision out of Lambo to move that across the map because he only had 6 Hydras. It was like 6 or 7 Hydras. Lost all the Hydras. Now we'll lose all the roaches as well. That was an expensive push which didn't really achieve much. Did force the army back home, but I mean, Rogue was happy to trade like that.
To find some way to get the game back to parity, because Rogue with that defense I think is in a very good position despite the fact that he's behind on supply.
Soup is lying.
Yeah, these
say the lying.
Make their way into the main here, taking down those rocks.
The Sip is lying.
The Roach Hydra is in position though. A queen will go down. These Lings will make their way to the pocket base.
Roaches get spotted.
And there's actually a lot of Lambo's army moving across the map right here. Burrowed movement not done just yet, but Lambo splitting this army. making it difficult to
Nice
actually
blitz.
catch all of it.
Very nice blitz on
Gonna try
Burrow.
and get some economic harassment done here.
Yeah, one overseer gets started. Second overseer begins as well. If there is an overlord speed already here for Rogue, I imagine he's going to be firing that up in just a minute too, because these burrowed roaches
So
can be...
now coming into this game here, I'm loving the burrow play. It's buying a lot of time, it's keeping Rogue busy, it's letting Lambo saturate and build up a higher Hydra count, and ideally Hive Tech as well. But once again, he's moving out too soon.
Yeah, the Hydra count wasn't high enough, and once again,
Yeah.
will be reset here. Some roaches
For the
have made their
second
way
time,
across.
Lambo throws away his
Burrow's speed
Hydras.
is now, Burrow
You need to
is
build
now
them up.
for these roaches, but the overseers are here for Rogue. He's going to start to chase down these little groups of roaches.
You know who this is reminding me of? This is reminding me of another Shopify player that we just casted, ByuN. Remember how ByuN in his TVT against Clem, where he was overly aggressive and was losing too much in his drop play? We're seeing something very similar here with Lambo. He's throwing away a lot of his Hydras.
But I think it's just because the roaches, they're so bulky in terms of supply. Rogue is hitting a critical mass of Mutalisks right now. Even though he's losing a lot of drones, I don't mind this position for Rogue at all. He's taking the fourth base quite well. And how many mutas is this, in fact, to the Hydras of Lambo? It feels like it is so many.
Like the Shopify boys, we gotta calm down. We gotta.
Yeah, that is a lot of mutas, but his drone count is 10 behind. If Lambo can kind of stabilize and get infestors out, that can be a game changer. But I mean, this is so many mutas.
I honestly think well, I guess that's enough Hydras to actually shoo these away. But if these Hydras don't move together as one unit, Rogue can get so much damage done. And
Now Baneling speed is done.
Even if he starts
Now we have now it's Ling Bane Muta.
like the Glaives are going to be sniping a bunch of
Banes are
units,
coming.
too.
Does he react?
So much.
Is he looking?
Bane's rolling in here
No!
while he's distracted. Drones are not pulled, and tons of drones going down. Even the Spore Caller, so the mutas can go there and start to take stuff out.
20 more Banelings now in production here for Rogue, as well as Lambo's going to continue to try and get damage done with these roaches. Now, Lambo's in a very
But yeah,
tough
there was a
position
world
right
where
now
in
with
this
a
game,
command
Lambo
control.
could
There's
have built
20
up,
plus
turtled
meters
up,
of
gone
roads.
into Hive Tech, into Infestors, into Vipers, into Lurker, into Hydra Lurker play as well. But he was just being overly aggressive with such a low Hydra count, and because of that, he never built up. He never built up his Hydras, never built up his army, not the way that he would need to against as many
He
mutas.
can hunker down, get a really good trade, catch these mutas by surprise one time, but Rogue is firmly in control now, I would say, up to 70 drones of his own. 4 bases, which are full bases. Lambo's only on basically 2.5 bases of mining right now. And there's more and more aggression to come from Rogue here.
Thought the line was
And
the
a lot
soup
of
does
these
not
roaches
lie.
have been
No,
sectioned off to
no,
try
the
and
soup
get
lies.
damage done
Often.
with tunneling claws. That means there isn't going to be a lot of front line for the Hydras here in the natural expansion. The Banelings are just going to dive right on in. Not getting the big connections here onto the Hydras just yet. Excellent split by Lambo. Rogue, he is going to be able to pick off a couple of these Hydras there on the northern side. That went about as well as it possibly could for Lambo given the situation.
Yeah, he really needed something like that, like a big, decisive win for him in terms of resources. A lot of Banes go down there, which is a ton of gas. He's got to keep the 4th base alive, though. He needs to start mining here again soon. Going to come over with the Hydras and the Infestors, looking for that fungal, the Infestors at the front. Not going to give it to him is Rogue. Going to move away 4 now as he takes his 5th base on the left side of the map.
More Roaches going to try and find damage here for Lambo. Rogue finally able to surpass Lambo in supply. And the Banelings, they're going to roll in once more. There is fungal available here for Lambo. He is going to fungal those Banelings there on the backside.
Oh, God.
He's still got a very good connection, though. Oh, my goodness. The +2 melee attack
He just
really
tanks the
paying off.
fungal to the face and just
Behind
keeps
that, Rogue was
going.
able to snipe the
He
hatchery
just
down
keeps
too.
going, Pappy.
It kind of just feels like Lambo is running out of steam.
Yeah, this counter damage just is not enough. Rogue has his own burrow now, actually burrowing some units there at the base to save them. More Banes out here on the map. The fungal whiffs. I mean, Lambo needs some amazing engagements to have any chance.
pretty sure
of coming back
Lambo
in
who's
this
smiling
game. The
then as well. He
landmine
was
setup, we know Rogue is so good with these. If you walk a bunch of Hydras over them, you could lose your whole army instantly. Couple Roaches going to fall here at the pocket base. Lambo sees that's not been taken. He also does know about the 9 or 10 o'clock base over there. 2 Banelings just going to roll into this army for some reason.
And Rogue is just taking his entire side of the map. The Banelings are coming in here again. They're not really getting the connections
God, they get the
that
Infestor.
Rogue wants. But Rogue, with all these expansions, with Lambo reset back down to 3 hatcheries again, as that 4th hatchery has not yet finished, he can afford to just kind of throw away units like this and kind of fish for some damage, because if he gets it,
Well, it's one of those things where
game-ending.
technically Rogue isn't getting the connections that he wants, but he's still connecting. Like, he's still killing Hydras, still killing Infestors with his Baneling pushes like that, with his run-bys. The Roach run-bys here, the Tunneling Claws is paying off and is buying some time for sure, but Rogue is he's gonna be the first to max.
If the Mutas catch these, that could be a game-ending maneuver. Not sure what they're trying to do, make a creep pyro, just all rally together. You do not want to lose those.
I wonder if Lambo's one of these players that hotkeys all of his overlords over the course of the game, and he just might have accidentally sent them across the map, because they are going back home now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of Baneling, Sturgeon.
That is a lot of Banes. Look at these overlords, the Armada.
I think it's time for Rogue just to collapse on this position.
With
or without fungal.
Oh my god, the
Banelings already. It's
they take down the Infestor.
The Mutas get on top of the Hydras. The fungal connects with the Mutas, but there just isn't any anti-air to finally get the damage. The Lings stream on in, and Rogue is going to have a clean 3-0 victory over Lambo. He will advance to face Hero at the upper bracket semifinals.
What a match that is going to be. A very valiant effort by Lambo there. I think he played well at stages in the game, but there were just those moments where the Banes got into the mineral lines, and the Mutas just kept taking favorable fights against the Hydras on the map, resetting the Hydra count, and that anti-air never got to just be that colossal amount that you need to just win the fight against the Mutas once you lock them down with the fungals.
Yeah, Lambo for much of the game had more workers, he had more economy, he had more supply, but the fact that he was never able to whittle down the Mutalist count, it really just proved to be the end of him, because the Mutas, once they reach like 24, they can take nearly any fight imaginable. The only thing that can stop them is the full clump of Hydras, eventually with fungal too. And that was just a little bit too far away there for Lambo. So Rogue with some really good games. You know, this was a very close series, I think, especially.
GG well played. I think I'd push against what Stay just said and more towards what Sturgeon. Like Stay, he was saying like he couldn't catch the Mutas and he couldn't stop them from slowing out of control. I would disagree with that. Sturgeon did bring it up, and I ideally you want to emphasize his point a little bit more here, which was that Lambo kept pushing across the map too soon. I'm not too certain what the prompt was there. It's possible that maybe Lambo just didn't want to play, and I wouldn't blame him. Like it doesn't feel good playing against Mutas as a Hydra player, just because you're forced to be very defensive and very turtley. So it's possible that he might just not enjoy that style of playing Hydra Lurker Viper or even Hydra Infestor. It's not an enjoyable style, so he probably just didn't want to do that, and he maybe just kind of misjudged the Muta counts because his push was so premature. It was a very premature push, and I don't think there was any real prompt to it outside of maybe just not identifying just how high the Muta count was, because he only moved out with, again, it was like 7 Hydras. It was barely any, and it happened twice, if you remember. It happened one time, and then it happened a little bit later with a second wave, a second push, also with a minimal amount of Hydras. So again, because these things kept happening, because these pushes kept occurring too soon, it ensured that Lambo never had a Hydra count that could fight the Mutas, because he was bleeding out too many too early on too quickly. So again, Lambo, he was just a little bit premature there, just a little bit too overly aggressive too soon, did hurt himself in the end, and did ensure that Rogue was able to hit a critical mass of Mutas, and uncontested as well. It was uncontested in that Muta count, and as a result, Lambo's economic lead, he lost it. He had the better start. Like he got away with a 3-hatch with a gaseous opener, right? Like Lambo had the better build, he had the better start, he got away with a greedier build. But it's what he did with that greedier start. It's what he did with that economy where it all just kind of fell apart, where he chose to push. He chose to move out early. He chose to try to be more aggressive and try to be active and move out. But especially on a map like this, a larger map of the map pool, longer rushes to spy ground, there was more time for Rogue to react, respond, and to shut it down. GG well played with that. Congratulations here to Rogue as he does claim the series. Shout out to Lambo, because again, I would say that Lambo had some moments of brilliance here, and again, I feel like game 3, I could definitely see Lambo winning that game as well, just as again, maybe overly aggressive, maybe just was unwilling to enter a mid to late game, was maybe unwilling to try to play against that style, which is understandable. It's a very, not many people enjoy that style. Enjoy playing Hydra against Muta in a longer game state. It's not the most amount of fun for sure. But yeah, regardless, GG well played with that. Congratulations. With that, we do have our 2 series wrapping up here. Clem takes down ByuN 3-0. Rogue takes down Lambo 3-0 as well. GG. We're a bit one-sided, but sort of expected. I would push against that. Again, like Lambo was ahead. Like Lambo was ahead in game 3. Like it was just, again, Lambo's, it's similar to like ByuN versus Clem in game number 3 as well. We actually made reference to it when I was like, these Shopify boys have to calm down. Where ByuN was in a better position, and then ByuN being overly aggressive made him lose his edge and lose that lead. Similar here as well, where Lambo was ahead. He was ahead, better economy, faster base count, stronger economic setup coming into a longer game, but chose to move out early, so he couldn't really make full use of that better economy and lost his lead as a result. So the score looks more one-sided than what it really is, as the games were much closer and there were a lot more opportunities for both ByuN and Lambo in their respective series. But GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations. With that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. We're going to be back tomorrow with some more StarCraft. Quickly heading on over, and before I get ahead of myself, if you want to support the RSL, !RSL. !RSL in the chat. You'll get a link to the Patreon for the Rival StarCraft League, so you can support them. You can, of course, vote for players, vote for maps. You can get replay packs as well, all via the RSL Patreon. So you can check it out. Otherwise, very quickly here, we do have the rest of our schedule. Bam! This is last week's schedule, so we did have some days off here. I think for the most part I've recovered, but I was a little bit sick. I was unwell at the start of the week. That's why we missed out on PegaStar Cup and WarDTV Monday this week. I did miss out on some casting as I was just resting my voice and recovering, but we are for the most part back, so we should be able to return tomorrow in just over 24 hours time with the WarDTV Monday. WarDTV Monday is going to be here on the channel, covering the weekly open tournaments. On Tuesday, we're going to be live with KSL and the STC, Korean StarCraft League, Sparkling Tuna Cup. Wednesday is going to be PegaStar Cup. Thursday, we have Kung Fu Cup. We have Crank Gathers as well next weekend, and more RSL. Remember, RSL, I should also emphasize, is going to be leading towards BlizzCon. The RSL finals will be at BlizzCon this year, so big collaboration effort with Blizzard and with RSL. Great to see, great to hear. Looking forward to it, and we'll see who's going to make it through here into those finals. Serral's looking good in this event. For those who are unaware, for the past 5 seasons of RSL, pure Protoss champions, pure Protoss for the past 5 seasons. Season 6 though, especially with the new patch and only 1 Protoss in the playoffs, high chance we finally break that trend and that there's going to be a Zerg champion. I'm looking at Serral. Like, Serral is looking to be a heavy hitter here to make it through, to have a strong showing. But we got some big names that can threaten him, like Hero, like Clem, maybe even Rogue as well. We'll see. We'll see you guys soon, tomorrow with the WarDTV Monday, or next week for some more RSL action. Again, a big shout out to State and Sturgeon for covering the event. State, Sturgeon, Gemini, and Tasteless, they all do cover the RSL, so do support them. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some WarDTV Monday action. Till then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.